Hey everyone, Enes20. So, yeah, this video I kind of wanted to make it just because I'm in my head I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to get information out there. But it's really hard to do it when no matter what account I have, they all I have very few followers, subscribers, whatever. I don't mind that much, but it's hard to get it to the people that I know might be interested in the information. And I guess my Discord is one thing, so I'm just I'll just make a video and we'll see what's up. So, for those who know, I like writing fanfiction. I love writing fanfiction. I have a lot of fun with it. And personally, to me, as the one who's written, I think a dozen or so, Xenoblade Chronicles Mira is what I believe the best fanfiction I've ever written. I loved writing it every second and rereading it. I've read it a ton for editing purposes and posting and everything. And it is just summarized for the few people who don't know, or I mean, well, for most people who wouldn't know. So it is a fanfiction based off of Xenoblade Chronicles X. Very little though. It actually barely follows. There's not much to follow, so it doesn't really follow a lot of what Xenoblade Chronicles X actually was. I guess the closest thing to say is an AU based on the little lore and world and whatever that we know of Xenoblade X. That's what it is. It's a story that starts in 2050, 4 years before Exodus, which is when humanity leaves the Earth, and then 2 years later they crash on Mira. That's in the game. That's in the opening of the game. And I basically cover the last 4 years while doing a bunch of flashbacks to as early as 2024, I think it is. Yes. Because in lore, I think it's in lore. I think it is. I think they say somewhere in Xenoblade Chronicles X somewhere that Elma arrives on Earth in 2024. So that gives me 30 years to play around and fill in events and all that stuff. Anyway, the thing is, I love this fic. I wrote the ending already. I really wanted to share it, and then after writing 40 chapters of it, somewhere in the middle of chapter 41, I just stopped writing. And it went from a week to a month to a few months, and then 2 years later, I hadn't written any more of Xenoblade Chronicles Mira, and I was mad at myself for that. I literally one day I opened the story up and I read all of part 3, which I think is I think I have 6 or 7 chapters in part 3. I can't remember. But I read all of part 3, and then I was cool, now I'll let that energy carry me into writing 41. And I tried, I wrote a few paragraphs of 41, and it just wasn't working. It's I wasn't in the mindset of where I was. I didn't totally understand, I didn't feel like I was there with Elma and Janix and what they were talking about, and nothing was making, nothing had the emotion in it that I was writing that I felt like it should have for that point in the story. And I just kind of got bummed out by that, and I stopped writing again. And now, months after that attempt, for some reason, it's because of my job. So at work, I spend a lot of time cleaning rooms, and usually I have a TV on. I listen to Food Network. That's my main thing. I listen to cooking competitions because it's funny and it's enjoyable. And sometimes I don't turn the TV on, or the TV doesn't work, so I'm just in silence for 30, 45 minutes, however long it takes me to clean a room. And in that time, my brain just goes crazy and starts thinking about a whole bunch of things. And lately, I've just been thinking about Xenoblade Chronicles Mira and ideas that I had for it, for the future, and even for the past. And I came to the conclusion that the only way I think I can get back on the horse and continue the story is to start it all over. So I have done this before, but not to this extent, or at least not in this way. So going back further, one of my first long fan fictions I ever wrote was called Fire Emblem New Emissaries, and it is a sequel to Radiant Dawn. So it has the cast of, well, not the cast, it has the Grail Mercenaries and a few other units that I picked that I really like. And it's all about them leaving Telius, the continent that those games take place on, and exploring other continents and getting into other crazy events, right? Just as quickly as I could sum it up. It's one of the first fics I ever wrote, and I was really proud of it. And then I reread it sometime, wow, this is amateurish, which, it's the first fic I wrote. Of course it is. And then one day I thought, there's a lot of good ideas that I had there that I think I could express now better. And so I actually rewrote it. I can actually show you. I don't know why I'm not showing you. Alright, give me a second. Alright, never mind. I don't think I can show you. I just tried to get into fanfiction and it's not working. But basically, Fire Emblem New Emissaries, like, did I finish it? I'm trying to remember. Yes, I finished it because then I was writing the sequel, which was called New Emissaries Y Mark Tag, and it's set on the last continent that they visit. Because the other continents all had like pretty small adventures, and then the last one was going to be a giant story. And Y Mark Tag is like on such, like, the quality of it is so much better than New Emissaries, and I was like, who's going to want to read this to get to this? So I actually went and rewrote all of New Emissaries into this, New Emissaries Redux. Which was a complete, like, everything was different. Like, it followed the general beats. They still went here, they still fought these people, but everything about how it played out was super different, and my writing was, yeah, way better than the original one. Like, geez, I reread that original one, I was amazed at how much, how many typos and just grammar problems it had. It was crazy. So that was this. So the reason I bring all this up, as aside from Xenoblade, is that I wanted to do the same. I want to do this, not the same. I want to do something similar with Xenoblade Chronicles Mira. But unlike Fire Emblem, it's not gonna be a rewrite that completely changes everything. Like, that was like, it's like a new story. Well, with Xenoblade Chronicles Mira, what I'm doing is I'm reading, like, I'm gonna open both two documents, one with the original story and one with a blank document. And then I'm just gonna transcribe the old one, and if I come across like spelling errors, grammar errors, I'll fix them up as I go. If I come across a line that I don't think was good, I can change it. I can change character interactions. I can introduce certain elements earlier into the story, and so on like that. So it's gonna be like basically doing one last really big edit through the entire story that I've already written. And as you can see, Xenoblade Chronicles Mira is 385,000 words, according to Archive. So that's a lot of work. I started a few days ago, and I've only got 3 chapters done, but I like where I'm going with it. I've already liked some of the changes that I made. This, like, I really hope that this works, that when I get to 40, and I've rewritten everything, that I actually have that intention in my mind to continue on and write 41. That's the plan. So I'm just gonna, so this is actually the rewrite for chapter 1, which has become a little bit bigger because I put a lot more information in it. And, like, an example of what it is that I want to do, like what it is that I want to change. So for anyone who read it, like, in part 2, somewhere in the middle of part 2, one of the characters randomly brings up, so hey, you know how we have these little things in our ear that allow us to translate Xenoform speech so we can talk to each other? Well, yeah, mine's broken. It's like a whole thing leading up to the characters realizing that Mira translates languages for whatever reason, right? But it was like so awkwardly shoved into that chapter simply because I forgot to bring it up earlier, and I was like, I should have brought this up like a long time ago. But the idea of like going back to like chapter 10, let's say, and putting in a little scene where they talk about this technology was not a good use of my time. And it's not something I actually wanted to do. So I just said, whatever, we'll let it sit. But it's always bugged me. There's a few things in the story like that have always bugged me. Things that I don't bring up until it's too late. Another thing that I didn't do early enough was bring up Janix's hobbies. She likes to, like, is she the cooker in the family, or is that Lila? I think they both cook. It's been a while, so I'm rereading the story to remind me. But I know that Janix likes to play the drums. She likes to sing. She likes to dance. She likes to, I think those are like her main hobbies. But I didn't bring up dancing until near the end of part 1 after she was crippled by Lao. And I'm like, okay, well, that was a mistake. You know, like, to only bring it up there. Like, Lila brings it up to her while she's in the hospital. And it's a nice moment because it's something that she knows Janix will be worried about, but she's like, I shouldn't talk about it because, like, people are gonna be like, really, you're worried about being able to dance? Like, you got shot in the back, you know? But of course that would be something that she worried about, and of course it would be something that would bug Janix, but it was literally never mentioned in the story before. And the reason for that is, as people know, Xenoblade Chronicles Mira in and of itself is like a rewrite or a reimagining of my other Xenoblade Chronicles X series, where it shares all the characters, all the OCs and stuff like that, but it's completely different because the old story was all set after X. This one is set before. So because of that, in my brain I was like, no, yeah, people know that Janix likes to dance. That was a thing that she talked about all the time. Yeah, in the old continuity. This is a different continuity, so it's like I need to remind myself that people don't know these inherent qualities of characters. I need to restate that stuff because this technically would be the first time. You know, unless you're someone who read the old stories and you jumped into this one, you're like, oh yeah, I know that about her. But it's like this story is the beginning, so it needs to have that info in it, you know? So yeah, that's this is mainly what I want to talk about, mainly what I want to explain, and what I hope will excite some people, because I did have people who liked the story, who read it, reviewed every chapter. I had a friend on my Discord who talked to me about every single chapter, then I just stopped posting, and now like I feel bad about it. I really do. So for like this, I hope it works out, you know? So I'm off today from work when I'm recording this, so I hope to be able to like edit 2, maybe 3 more chapters. It's a pretty lengthy process. But I really hope it works out, because I want to get this to people. Like, not only do I want to write the story because I want to write it, I want to finish it, I want to actually be able to change the label to complete, you know. I also want people to be able to enjoy it, and for the people who were enjoying it, I want them to be able to reach that ending that I wrote, you know, and then move on to the other stuff, because, you know, it's a big universe of fics. I think, what was the Final Count 6 or 7 fics that I had planned? I know it's hard, like, wait, you all that planned out, you didn't finish the first one? Like, yeah, because at the time I was, like, writing like crazy, and I was like, yeah, I'll definitely keep going. And it's all about just staying committed to it. So it's going to be hard, I think, to get through all 40 chapters for a few reasons. One being, it's almost 400,000 words. Another being, I have a job, and I work a lot, and I'm always there. And it's in the middle of the day, so like I have a few hours in the morning before I go to work, and then a few hours at night before I sleep, and it's like I can only really do one big activity in either of those sections. So it's either edit a chapter or 2, or, you know, play a video game. Because at the same time, these recent weeks, I've been trying to eat through my backlog as best as I can, because I got way too many games on there. Like, I was like, well, the good thing is I don't have a new game coming out that I want to grab until next month, I think it is, which is Advance Wars. So it's like I'm trying to schedule everything in a good way. So yeah, but that's it. So I guess the whole point is just I'm rewriting Xenoblade Chronicles Mira, and I hope people tune in and read it. So when I will post it, I'll have to update that on like Twitter. I'll update that on my Discord. I don't think, maybe I'll make like a little video saying that. But the thing is, I don't think that fanfiction and archive don't really send out notifications for anyone following the story that, hey, the chapter was updated. So I have to tell people that that's what I'm doing. In my brain, I thought that I might need to add chapters. I was thinking actually that there was 1 or 2 chapters I wanted to add to part 1. The issue with that is that then throws off the entire story, because now all of a sudden there's a new chapter earlier, and I don't think archive or fanfiction have any method of dealing with that. Because like if I put the chapter in earlier and push everything else back, I don't think like that's gonna reflect with like the comments. So if someone looks at the comments, like someone left a comment for like chapter 30 and it's talking about something that didn't happen in chapter 30, that's because there's a new chapter 30, and the chapter they reviewed is 31. So, because like on fanfiction, it says what review each chapter was posted for, you know? And in archive, it's all set. Like, every chapter has its own individual comments page at the bottom. So I would actually, like, as much as I think that would be a good way to put a lot of fixes in one chapter, I think it's probably like any of the ideas that I had for that chapter, I gotta find somewhere to put them. Which technically shouldn't be too hard because of how much of a use, like how much I use flashbacks. But yeah, we'll see. Oh, and as you noticed right there, July 2nd, 2050. One other big change that I'm doing is I am dating everything. So in the original story, part 1 was not dated. It was all very, and the way that people talked about events was very vague. They were like, yeah, no, a few months ago this happened. Yeah, maybe a few years ago this happened. Yeah, this, yeah, that. And I did that because, once again, part 1 encompasses events across 30 years. And it was like, that's difficult. That's a lot of time and space to put stuff. So let's not do that. But now I'm like, I have to do that so I can place where specific things happen and I can have people talk about it, and I won't make a mistake of like putting a flashback at a certain date. And it's like, well, that flashback can't be there because this flashback happened near there, and why would they be here now? You know, something like that. And also the dates thing helps me write up a timeline, which I tried to write once and it wasn't working. So this way I'm just gonna take it piece by piece. It's like, okay, this happened on this date, put that there. This happened on this date, put that there, and actually make an effective timeline. Just mainly for me to keep up with where everything is, so that I know who talked to who about what. Because that was an issue I had in part 3 towards the end of my writing, is that I wasn't sure what Elma knew about Janix or what Janix knew about Elma, because there was so much talking, and I'm like, who did what now? And it's like, I need to keep that stuff straight. So that's my goal. So yeah, a lot of video talking about a fanfic, but that's basically it. I do hope people are excited. So the plan is that once I finish the edit chapters, I'm gonna give them one more look, and then I'm gonna post them on my Discord for anyone on my Discord to read. And then after they read it, if they have any thoughts, if they notice a grammar error or something that I missed, that could help me fix something, and then I will, and then it'll be good, and it'll like check mark it, and then I'll put it out. So I'm thinking of probably updating in batch. I was thinking maybe I should just on one day just focus and refresh all of part 1, which is 20 chapters, to update them all on like archive, as opposed to doing one at a time. But I don't know, but we'll see how that works. But for now, the absolute thing is that if you want to read the rewrite chapters early, you can join my Discord. Just ask for an invite, I'll send the link, and that's all. Yeah, that's all I want to get out there. I look forward to writing more, and I look forward to people reading it, possibly getting more comments on it and all this and that. The good thing is that between when I left off and when it came to now, Xenoblade 3 released, and nothing about Xenoblade 3 affects anything that I had planned for the future, which is great, because I was really worried that that'd be a problem. The DLC story, I'm also like 99% confident saying it won't affect anything either. And even if it does, I will choose to ignore it. So there's that. But yeah, so none of my future plans have been altered, which is great. Everything's gonna stay and go on the one path that it needs to stay and go on. Yeah. So yeah, that's all. Hope you're excited and looking forward to writing more and sharing it with y'all. So until next time, hasta.